36 samples because your computer is probably very powerful, so you will not have issues doing that. And you will have two different, if you're doing a 60 frames per second recording. If you don't know what it is, select the sample rate that your audio device that you're capturing on likes. If you don't know what it is, Google it. Google the name of your audio device. and type sample rate, it will likely be 44.1 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz minus 48. I recommend disabling every single audio device by default right here. It'll enable your microphone and desktop audio by default. Disable that. You do not want that stuff popping up down here on accident or without you setting it up properly in your audio mixer. I recommend adding every single audio device manually in OBS Studio. Link in the description below to my tutorials playlist on how to set those up manually. If you don't do this, you may be confused when you have random audio popping into your recording you did not put there. Hit apply, but do not yet hit OK. Our next stop is going to be the output tab. This is where the majority of the settings are located for 4K recordings. By default, this tab will be looking like this. It'll be on simple mode. You don't really want to use simple mode when you're doing 4K. Recording path, separate tutorial on all of the best settings for 4K. We're not doing streaming today, so skip the streaming tab today. I'll have a separate tutorial on that. Recording tab is actually our first stop right here. Click the recording tab. Once you arrive here, you'll want to select a recording path that is a custom folder that you've made by hitting browse, and go find a storage drive on your computer if you have one, or find a drive on your computer that's a terabyte or bigger is my recommendation. Create a folder on that drive and then select that folder to drop all your recordings into. These are going to be big recordings, very big recordings. For your recording format, I highly recommend MP4. It is the most compatible and most universal recording format that can be. If you do not have that available, X264, which will gobble up to stream to YouTube in 4K. Here you're going to set your resolution as well as your frame rate. Is this area down here where you're actually building against is going to be 6 samples, just chatting, in 44.1, 4K enthusiast settings that you arrive at the encoder, attempting to do this with an X264 encoder. Just don't do it. It's just not going to work. It's probably not going to work. I recommend only using an NVIDIA encoder to pull this off. Why? So that your graphics card can take on the massive encoding load of 4K video. Link in the description below to that laptop. That can definitely fastest process. Enforce streaming service encoder settings. Uncheck that because you're blowing it out here, my friends. Your rate control is going to be CBR, constant in your viewers. Devices disable to bump it up to 60, such as full rate, syncs. Make sure manually do not simple when you arrive here. Drop this menu down and make it advanced. That's going to unlock everything that you see here. I do not recommend, probably not going to work. I recommend